The people who seem unshakable don't have fewer problems. They've simply trained themselves not to react the same way others do. They don't suppress. They command. They don't overthink or lash out. They move with intention. Imagine walking through life without being emotionally hijacked. No more spirals of overthinking. No more snapping out of frustration. Just calm. Just presence. Just control. That level of composure isn't luck. It's trained. And that's exactly what this video is about. Teaching you how to rewire your mind to remain still in a world that constantly tries to shake you. When you stop reacting and start owning your emotions, you free yourself from invisible chains. And once you've mastered this skill, no person, no situation, no insult will ever have control over you again. Life doesn't stop throwing noise at you. People's opinions, everyday frustrations, unexpected setbacks. These things never pause. The world is relentless in its ability to disrupt your peace, to test your patience, to bait your emotions. But what if I told you that real strength isn't found in fighting every battle, but in walking past them without flinching? Imagine walking through a violent storm, wind in your face, rain pounding your skin, yet your steps remain steady. You don't tremble. You don't curse the rain. You just move forward. That's the image of true indifference. Not ignorance, but mastery. The secret? Emotional detachment. The ability to separate what happens around you from what happens within you. Because the moment you allow the outside world to dictate how you feel, you become a puppet. You react to everything. You spiral. You rage. And slowly, your life slips out of your hands. But if you train your mind to stay unmoved, calm in chaos, composed under criticism, you reclaim control. You become the author of your destiny. Those who remain calm under pressure, who stay grounded when the world tries to pull them apart, earn respect without demanding it. They don't need to argue or prove themselves. Their energy speaks louder than words. Think of the most influential leaders in history. Were they the ones screaming at insults? No, they moved with quiet force, like they knew something the rest of the world didn't. Their calm wasn't weakness. It was their strongest armor. That's what it means to master indifference. Every self-mastery philosophy and success principle points to this truth. Your thoughts shape your reality. What you dwell on becomes who you are. If you constantly let emotions rule you, you hand over your power. But if you learn to pause, reflect, and choose your response, you take it all back. Imagine this. Someone insults you in public. Most people would react instantly, with anger, defense, or retaliation. But what if you could pause, breathe, and let it pass through you like wind through trees? On the next page, we'll explore how to build that exact mental discipline, starting from your very next reaction. Here's the rewritten version of page 2, based on your exact specifications. It starts with a short connecting sentence from page 1, expands the content by approximately 20%, keeps the original meaning, and ends with a natural transition to the next part. Even when life tries to shake you, the true test lies in how calmly you choose to respond. Most people fall into despair when things go wrong, but not him. Instead of being consumed by the failure, he saw it for what it was, a lesson, not a sentence. He didn't flinch, he didn't react. He simply smiled, turned away, and moved on. And in that quiet gesture, he stole all power from his critic. They expected an outburst. They expected resistance, but when none came, they were left disturbed, disarmed. And he walked away untouched, stronger, undefeated. This is what silent dominance looks like. It's rare, but impossible to ignore. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. Its strength lies in presence alone. A presence so composed that it commands respect without demanding it. The same mindset applies when facing setbacks and rejection. Most people, when hit by failure, fall into emotional quicksand. They get overwhelmed with frustration. Some lose days. Others lose years, replaying what went wrong, drowning in regret. But those who've cultivated the power of indifference see failure as information. That's all. Just data, a signal, something to observe, adjust to, and step over. They don't absorb failure into their identity. They don't become it. They learn from it. So how do you reach that level of control? It starts with training your mind daily. Make it a habit to pause before you react. Ask yourself, does this really affect my long-term goals? Is this worth my energy, or am I just giving away my power? Every time you choose non-reaction, you strengthen your armor. You become more resilient, less bothered by life's small stings. You stop being pulled in every direction by the chaos outside you. Another key? Visualization. See yourself as someone who moves through life like a mountain, unmoved by the winds of insult, the storms of pressure. Picture a version of yourself that doesn't break under criticism, that doesn't flinch in conflict. The more you reinforce that image in your mind, the more real it becomes, and soon it becomes who you are. Let others wonder how you stay so composed. Let them be confused by your silence. Because in that mystery, in that calm no one can decode, lies your power. True strength isn't about shouting louder or dominating others. It's about presence. The kind of presence that speaks volumes through silence, that commands without aggression, that stands still when everything else is shaking. To stay unshaken, think about the strongest people you know. They don't lash out. They don't let emotions decide their path. They pause, they analyze, then they act with purpose. This isn't because they lack emotion. It's because they've learned to manage it. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you don't let fleeting emotions make permanent decisions. Imagine you're in a heated argument. Someone's trying to provoke you, push your buttons. What do? React, lash out, or smile, unaffected, knowing that their words only have power if you let them. Emotional detachment means refusing to give away your peace. It's understanding that your inner world is your sanctuary. It can't be shaken unless you open the door yourself. And when you operate from that place, stress fades, clarity rises. Life stops being a battlefield and becomes a puzzle. One you solve piece by piece without panic. Remember this, your thoughts shape your reality. Whatever you focus on, you attract. So if you let the outside world decide your state of mind, you become a slave to circumstance. But when you take charge of your thoughts, your reactions, your perspective, you take back control. Think of the man who lost everything, his business, his wealth, his stability. Most would collapse under the weight of that loss. But not him. He knew something invaluable, that while everything outside of him could fall, his mind remained untouched. That was his real power. And with that mindset, he rebuilt. Not just what he lost, but something even stronger. That's the essence of emotional detachment. When you stop tying your identity to every failure, you free yourself to rise above it. Many people abandon their dreams not because they lack talent, but because they haven't trained their emotions. They let doubt, fear, and frustration decide for them. They give up at the first obstacle, but those who've mastered detachment, they push through, not because they don't feel, but because they've trained their minds to treat setbacks as steps, not stop signs. And now you might wonder, what does it actually look like to train for this level of emotional strength in daily life? Let's break it down in the next section. When you train your emotions to serve you rather than rule you, you begin to reclaim control over your life. That's what true indifference means. Not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of it. You still experience joy, sadness, excitement, but you don't let these emotions hijack your judgment. They flow through you, but they don't dictate your course. You remain the driver. To build this mindset, start by stepping back in emotionally charged situations. The next time someone insults you or pushes your buttons, don't react immediately. Instead, pause. Notice the feeling rising inside you. Observe it without judgment. Ask yourself honestly, will this affect my life in any meaningful way? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And when you choose not to react, you rob the other person of their power over you. They can't manipulate your emotions if you refuse to hand them the reins. Emotional detachment also flourishes when you have a clear purpose. When your vision is strong, the little things no longer shake you. Petty distractions lose their grip. Your focus becomes razor sharp because you understand how precious your energy is and how wasteful it is to pour it into things that don't serve your goals. The truth is, the world belongs to those who have mastered themselves. While others panic, you stay calm. While others lash out, you choose to respond with precision. And in doing so, you gain an advantage most people never discover. Real strength isn't about brute force or loud outbursts. It's about unshakable composure, a quiet presence that commands respect, not through intimidation, but through stability. When you master the art of emotional detachment, you don't just survive life, you navigate it. You steer it. This is mindful indifference, and yes, it's a superpower. We've been conditioned to believe we must care about everything, what others think, what they say, how they judge us. Society has drilled into us the idea that our worth is defined by how much we invest in other people's expectations. But the truth? Freedom begins when you realize most of it doesn't matter. Next time you're overthinking, ask yourself, will this still matter 5 years from now? If the answer is no, let it go. So much of what haunts us, criticism, rejections, awkward moments, fades with time. And yet we allow these fleeting moments to occupy our minds, drive our emotions, and alter our actions. That's why mastering indifference is essential. It isn't apathy, it's prioritization. It's recognizing that your energy is limited and choosing to spend it on what truly matters. Not every argument deserves your words. Not every opinion deserves your attention. ... When you stop reacting to every tiny disruption, you gain control. You transition from being emotionally reactive to being intentionally responsive. And that shift, it changes everything. Think of the people you deeply admire. Are they the ones constantly seeking approval, reacting to every jab, every critique? No. They are the ones who remain grounded, calm in the storm, steady in the noise. They're not easily shaken because they know who they are. And because they are firm in their identity, they can't be manipulated or thrown off course by others. Once you adopt this mindset, something shifts. People begin to see you differently. They respect your silence more than others' noise. Not because you demand validation, but because your presence tells them, this person cannot be moved. In a world obsessed with likes, fitting in, and people-pleasing, those who stand firm in their self-worth become powerful beyond measure. Imagine someone unfairly criticizes you. The weak-minded react, defending themselves, over-explaining, maybe even retaliating, but the strong? They stay still. They don't let reactive words pierce their peace. They understand that words only have the power you assign to them, and by not reacting, they keep the upper hand, not just in the moment, but in their entire mindset. That kind of self-control radiates far more strength than any outburst ever could. The same principle applies to success. Those who reach greatness don't waste energy on distractions or drama. They remain focused, centered. They understand that every second spent dwelling on the irrelevant is a second stolen from their mission. So how do you start to develop this level of mindful indifference? Start with your reactions. Next time anger, anxiety, or irritation rises in response to something small, pause. Ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? And more often than not, you'll find the answer is simple. It's not. In the next section, we'll explore exactly how to build this response into your daily habits, until calm becomes your default. Once you let go of the need to please everyone, your focus shifts inward, toward peace, purpose, and personal strength. Train yourself to release anything that no longer serves your growth. Let go of distractions, toxic habits, and even people who drain your energy. One of the most powerful practices to strengthen this mindset is setting clear priorities. Define what truly matters to you, your purpose, your inner growth, your mental clarity. Because when you have a strong foundation of self-worth, the judgments and opinions of others begin to fade into the background. You become untouchable, not because you feel nothing, but because you've learned to care only about what truly matters. You don't carry everything. You carry what counts. This is a truth most people never uncover. Real power is not in being accepted by everyone. It's in staying unmoved when rejected. It's in walking away from what drains you. In rising above the small, distracting conflicts that steal your energy. In a world constantly demanding your attention, staying focused becomes your competitive edge. Ultimately, it's not about being cold or distant. It's about being wise with your care. Direct your energy where it counts, and refuse to waste it on things or people that don't contribute to your well-being or growth. When you master the art of indifference, you do more than survive. You thrive. While others are bending over backwards to be liked, you stand tall in your truth. And because of that, you rise above. Seeking approval is a dangerous trap. It gives someone else control over your happiness. You become reliant on their nod, their praise, their permission. But the truth is simple. No one's opinion of you should hold more weight than your own. The moment you let someone else define your worth, you give them power they never earned. Confidence isn't something handed to you by the world. It's built, slowly and surely, through self-reliance. It comes from knowing who you are and knowing you don't need anyone's permission to be it. Think about the most magnetic people you've encountered. Do they shrink to fit in? Do they beg to be accepted? No, they walk boldly, unapologetically, flaws and all. That's where their power lies, in their unshakable sense of self. While others chase validation, these individuals walk their own path. The need for approval is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being alone. But here's the truth. When you seek approval, you hand your power to others. You mold yourself into what you think they want, and in the process, you lose sight of who you really are. Freedom begins the moment you let go of the need to be liked by everyone. It's an illusion to think universal approval is even possible. No matter what you do, some will praise you, others will criticize you, and many won't care either way. So why waste your energy trying to win them all? Look at the people who change the world. They're not trying to blend in. They're driven by vision, fueled by purpose, and guided by the fire inside. They face criticism, and still they move forward. Their confidence is not built on applause, it's built on belief. If you truly want to escape the approval trap, begin by asking yourself, whose opinion actually matters? More often than not, the harshest voices come from those who don't understand your path. Their judgments are empty. They only matter if you give them weight. Next, learn to validate yourself. Acknowledge your progress. Celebrate your growth, no matter how small. Because once you start recognizing your own worth, external validation becomes irrelevant. You don't need applause to feel worthy. You just know you are. Detaching from validation doesn't mean becoming arrogant or dismissive. It means standing strong in your truth. It means respecting your decisions, honoring your journey, and refusing to let anyone else write your story for you. Your value is not a debate. It's not negotiable. The moment you stop looking for validation is the moment you start living, truly living. You no longer filter your dreams, your words, or your identity through someone else's expectations. You move with clarity, authenticity, and boldness. And yes, not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will cheer you on. And that's perfectly fine. The ones who matter will respect you, not because you chased their approval, but because you didn't need it. So choose yourself. Stand firm in your values. Trust your voice. Let go of the need for validation and embrace the quiet, unshakable power of self-acceptance. Because when you do, you become truly untouchable. Not because everyone agrees with you, but because their approval no longer defines you. Now that you've discovered the strength of walking your own path, it's time to face another challenge: how to respond to criticism and how to stay grounded, even when the world tries to shake you. Once you stop needing the world's approval, something powerful happens. You begin living by your own standards with a purpose that no one can shake. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support your journey. And that's completely okay. The ones who truly matter will respect you, not because you tried to win their approval, but because you didn't need it in the first place. So choose yourself. Stand tall in your beliefs. Stay rooted in your values. Hold tight to your vision. Let go of the constant craving for validation from the outside world and embrace the unshakable power of self-acceptance. Because once you do, you become truly untouchable, not because everyone applauds you, but because you no longer depend on that applause. But even after letting go of external validation, one challenge still remains. How do you handle criticism? Criticism is unavoidable. It's part of life. But how you handle it, that's where your true strength is revealed. Most people crumble the moment they hear disapproval. They let every comment sink deep into their identity, shaping how they see themselves and dictating their actions. Their confidence weakens. Their progress slows. But why? At its core, criticism is just a collection of words, opinions, perspectives, often spoken by those who may not even understand your journey. And here's the truth: criticism only holds as much power as you give it. When you react emotionally, you give it control over you. But when you respond with calm and logic, you remain in control. Strong individuals don't let criticism shake their foundation. They assess it with clarity. They take what's useful and let the rest go. No drama, no unnecessary emotion, just focused attention on what matters. That's the key lesson. Filter criticism through reason, not emotion. Keep what helps. Let go of what doesn't. Never allow someone's opinion to disrupt your peace. There are two types of criticism, constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism is a gift. It comes from people with experience, knowledge, and a genuine desire to see you grow. Their feedback can help you improve and elevate your work. This is the kind of feedback worth listening to. Destructive criticism, on the other hand, is a poison. It often comes from insecurity, jealousy, or ignorance. Its only purpose is to tear down, and unless you make the mistake of internalizing it, it holds no real power. Imagine a sculptor shaping a masterpiece. People stop by to watch. Some admire his skill. Some offer thoughtful advice. Others sneer and mock his work. Does the sculptor throw down his tools in defeat? No. He keeps going, guided by the vision only he can see, tuning out the noise and continuing his work. That's exactly how you must approach criticism. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, does this person have the knowledge or credibility to offer me something of value? If yes, listen. If not, move on. Not all voices deserve your attention. Most criticism comes from people who've never done what you're doing. Their words often reflect their limitations, not yours. Criticism is a test of emotional resilience. Those who are mentally weak react immediately, arguing, defending, or retreating into self-doubt. The strong? They stay centered. They hear the words, evaluate them with clarity, and never let them touch their inner peace. When you respond to criticism with calm indifference, you show the world your confidence is real, unshakable. Think about the greatest minds in history. Visionaries, creators, leaders. Every one of them was met with relentless criticism. Their ideas were questioned, their decisions doubted, and yet they pressed forward, refusing to let the noise drown out their purpose. They understood that criticism is often the price of making progress. So, if you want to develop that mindset, begin with detachment. The next time someone criticizes you, pause. Don't react. Ask yourself, is there any value here? If yes, learn from it. If not, dismiss it. Once you make this a habit, you free yourself from the emotional burden of approval seeking. Another powerful approach is what some call self-conveyance, the deep belief in your own path. When you truly trust yourself, external opinions lose their grip. Confidence flows from within, not from praise, not from silence, and certainly not from criticism. The world will always have something to say. Some will admire you. Others will doubt you. Many won't understand. But in the end, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. True power lies in your ability to hear criticism, evaluate it with clarity, and continue moving forward, focused, grounded, unbothered. So the next time someone criticizes you, remember this: it's just noise. Learn from it if there's value. Ignore it if there's not. But never, ever let it define who you are. Because the strongest people, they don't fear criticism. They use it wisely, or they let it pass right through them. Now that we've unpacked how to deal with criticism, it's time to explore the next test of resilience: how to stay composed when the pressure rises. After learning how to face criticism with clarity and composure, the next challenge is just as crucial. How do you remain calm under intense pressure? Pressure has a way of exposing us. Most people crack under it because they expect life to be easy, smooth, and controllable. And when things go wrong, as they inevitably do, they panic, they freeze, they complain. Why? Because they resist reality instead of preparing for it. But those who train themselves differently, those who accept that chaos is part of the game, they don't resist. They adapt, they adjust, they flow with the uncertainty instead of fighting it. Picture a seasoned warrior entering the battlefield. He doesn't expect comfort. He doesn't expect a clean, predictable fight. He expects the unexpected: ambushes, resistance, setbacks. And because he accepts this from the start, he stays calm. He doesn't waste energy wishing the fight were easier. He focuses on what matters: strategy, execution, composure. You must adopt the same mindset. Life will throw you storms. It will test your limits with stress, doubt, and failure. But if you've trained yourself to stay composed under pressure, nothing will shake you. While others are spiraling in panic, you will move with intention. While others react impulsively, you will respond precisely. There is deep power in mastering control, not over circumstances, but over yourself. When you stop needing things to go perfectly, you become unstoppable. Because the moment you recognize that pressure is inevitable, you stop fearing it. Instead, you begin to see it for what it really is, a mirror that reflects your discipline and an opportunity to sharpen your focus. Think of the greatest leaders, the most resilient minds. They don't flinch when things fall apart. They don't crumble when reality hits hard. They remain centered, calm, certain. That's what makes them magnetic. That's why others look at them and wonder, how do they stay so composed when everything's collapsing? The answer is simple. They've trained for it. They don't wait for the storm to come before deciding who they'll be. They rehearse their responses long before pressure knocks on the door. They detach from emotion. They stay grounded in logic. They stay ready. To build this mindset, start by changing how you see pressure. Treat it like a challenge, even a game. See it as a test of your discipline. The next time stress shows up, challenge yourself to remain composed. Feel the emotions, but don't let them take the wheel. Observe them, breathe, then choose your response with clarity. The more often you do this, the more natural it becomes. Another essential skill, preparation. The strongest individuals don't wait for the chaos to arrive. They train for it in advance. They mentally rehearse worst-case scenarios. They condition their minds to stay sharp, steady, and clear-headed when others lose control. Because when you've prepared yourself mentally, pressure doesn't catch you off guard, it confirms your readiness. You become a strategist, not a reactor. Most people drift through life relying on hope. They expect things to just fall into place. And when they don't, they fall apart. But those who train for adversity don't break. They bend, but they never fold. So the next time life presses down on you, pause, remind yourself, this is my test. This is my moment to show what I've trained for. While others panic, you will breathe. While others flail, you will move with purpose. And when the dust settles, you'll still be standing, unshaken, unbreakable. And now, let's look at another powerful form of strength, learning to let go of what you cannot control. After learning how to stay composed under pressure, there's one more inner strength that changes everything. Learning to let go of what you cannot control. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything around you. It comes from flowing with life, not against it. Yet most people spend their days fighting reality. They cling to outcomes, tying their happiness to specific results. If things go their way, they feel good. But if life detours, they fall apart. That's a fragile way to live. True strength comes from adaptability. When you detach from rigid expectations, you develop a kind of quiet resilience. You're no longer shaken by disappointment. No setback can break you, because your sense of peace no longer depends on things going a certain way. The key to letting go is awareness. The next time you find yourself clinging to a specific outcome, a person, or a tightly held expectation, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Don't waste precious energy on what you can't change. Instead, redirect that energy into something that moves you forward, something that empowers you. Detachment is not a feeling, it's a skill. One that you must practice. Start small. Let go of little irritations, the long line at the store, the traffic jam, the unexpected change in plans. Feel how liberating it is to not react, to not let the outside world dictate your mood. Then apply the same mindset to bigger situations. When something doesn't go as planned, don't resist, adjust. Don't panic, breathe. Don't complain, move forward. Some may confuse detachment with indifference, but they're not the same. Indifference is apathy. It's a refusal to care. Detachment is clarity. It's a conscious choice to engage in life fully, without being ruled by its unpredictability. You can still love deeply, work passionately, and strive for your goals. But you don't have to suffer every time something doesn't go your way. The moment you let go of what you can't control, you gain something far more valuable, emotional freedom. You walk through life with a quiet strength that others admire but can't quite understand. While they are overwhelmed by frustration and disappointment, You remain steady, grounded, at peace. They wonder how you do it, how you manage to stay calm when everything seems to be falling apart. Why you're not shaken by what shakes them? The answer is simple. You've mastered the art of letting go. So stop resisting. Stop forcing life to bend to your will. Accept what is. Adapt to what comes. And most importantly, remember, the strongest minds don't cling. They flow. Like a river. They keep moving forward, unbothered by the rocks in their path. And now, in a world filled with constant noise, it's time to unlock one of the most powerful tools of all, silence. After learning to let go of what you can't control, there's one more powerful truth to embrace. Mental strength isn't built during chaos. It's built before it. Those who stay calm in the storm aren't lucky. They've trained for it. They've prepared their minds not to be ruled by fear, frustration, or doubt. To build an unshakable mind, you must develop the habits that fortify your inner world daily, consistently, without exception. Gratitude to counter negativity. Discipline to override laziness. Detachment to release unnecessary suffering. Just like the body grows stronger through resistance, the mind becomes resilient through repetition. You can't expect mental toughness to appear in a moment of crisis if you haven't trained for it ahead of time. Every single day, you must practice being calm, being still, being intentional. Pause before you react. Breathe before you speak. Think before you move. Most people are prisoners to their emotions. They react impulsively. They act out of fear. They surrender to stress. But those who master their minds, they master everything else. This is the way warriors think. This is how leaders move. They don't let distractions, disappointments, or insults throw them off course. They carry themselves with purpose, grounded in a calm that others simply don't understand. And that's what makes them unbreakable. Understand this. True mental strength is forged in the smallest moments. It's in getting out of bed when you'd rather stay under the covers. It's in choosing silence instead of a pointless argument. It's in showing up and pushing forward when every part of you wants to quit. The mind, like a muscle, grows through resistance, and every challenge, every obstacle, is a chance to grow stronger. One of the most transformative mental habits you can build is detachment. When you learn to separate yourself from chaos, from emotions, from outcomes, from external noise, you gain a powerful edge. While others react, you remain clear, focused, centered. Detachment is not indifference. It's not about not caring, it's about not being controlled. It means accepting that while you cannot control the world, you can always control your response. Picture a storm. Most people are tossed about by the winds, struggling against what they cannot change. But those with unshakable minds, they remain still, grounded, calm, like a mountain letting the storm pass around it. They don't waste energy fighting the uncontrollable. They conserve their strength for what truly matters. Another critical ingredient in mental strength is discipline. The mind will always lean toward comfort, toward distraction, toward ease. That's why so many never reach their potential. They surrender too early. But when you train your mind with discipline, something changes. You stop giving in. You begin to rewire your thinking. You become someone who chooses growth over comfort, purpose over convenience. Start small. Meditate to sharpen your focus. Exercise to build discipline. Read to expand your mind. Keep promises to yourself, especially the small ones. Over time, these acts compound into something powerful, something permanent, an unshakable mind. Because the truth is, the world will test you. People will challenge you. Life will throw obstacles your way without warning. But once you've trained your mind, nothing external can shake you. You'll move through life with a quiet confidence, with control, with power. And when others ask, how do you stay so calm? How do you keep going when everything feels hard? You'll already know the answer. You trained for this. You built this. And no one, not the world, not your critics, not even your fears, can take it from you. Now it's time to take that inner power one step further. Let's explore the art of moving in silence, where real strength reveals itself without a single word.